Strengthening Civic Advocacy and Local Engagement SCALE project hosted its second National Organizational Development Summit with the theme Enhancing Innovation and Technology for Organizational Resilience and Performance. This hybrid summit focused on two main goals: innovation and technology, drawing over 2,100 participants globally, including donors, foundations, private sector organizations, civil society organizations, business membership organizations, organizational development experts, and emerging organizations.
Palladium is a global management consulting company. We're into strategy development and project management. In Nigeria, we really deploy our project management skills across various sectors. So across the health, across the governance, social development, and of course, health sector. The SCALE program, for example, falls into the kind of work we do in the governance space, and specifically supporting that demand-side governance.
The goal of SCALE is to build the financial, managerial, and advocacy capacity of civil society organizations and business membership organizations so that they contribute to the creation of a transparent, accountable, peaceful, and democratic Nigeria.
So the OD Summit is one of our creative ways of trying to reach as many civil society organizations as possible. It's also ways that we're bringing different experts across the board, across different areas, young organizations, people that are really making strides in this area, bringing them together to share with the larger CSO and civil society in general.
One of our priorities is to reduce poverty in all its forms. And we do this by working with the public sector, private sector, and the non-profit sector towards the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals.
We are here for the second level summit on organizational development that started last year. Last year we had a section on sustainability, and that section was able to give rise to a lot of impact level that right now we are celebrating. One of them is that we inaugurated and graduated the first crop of organizational development experts, which we term organizational development marketplace. Then we were looking for opportunity for institutionalization of that marketplace. And we are celebrating that institutionalization now because we were able to link up with an institution who has signed an MOU with us to run postgraduate degree programs at National State University, and that is commencing soon.
The USAID Mission Director, Dr. Ann Patterson, Ford Foundation West Africa Regional Director, Dr. Chichi Anagolo Okoye, and the FCDO Country Director, Dr. Chris Pycroft, participated and contributed to value add to the Organizational Development Summit.
Most civil society organizations do not have strong organizational structure. In Nigeria, USAID's Strengthening Civic Advocacy and Local Engagement activity, known as SCALE, empowers CSOs to acquire the necessary skills and knowledge to fulfill their organizational missions.
Ford is a social justice organization, and so we see everything from a social justice lens. Our ultimate goal and aim is to build a just democratic society. So what it is that we're looking for are organizations that are passionate about what it is that they are doing.
I just want to also talk about three things. So the first element that's required to be able to build high-performing, resilient organizations is capacity. The second most important criteria, it's about purpose. The third factor is to do with the context in which you operate.
The summit provided a platform for sharing learnings on innovative strategies and how global technology has transformed strategic thinking for organizational resilience and performance.
Technology is not an end in itself, but technology helps to enable processes. And so you need to think about your organization and all the processes that you do within the organization and ask, how can technology help you to do your work faster?
Standing here, I can count up to between 18 and 20 organizations that we have built, supported by building their websites, and other technological tool that we have introduced to them to improve their processes. That is, as is a matter of one of our mandates.
We're going to be looking at the opportunities that the external environment can bring, to a leader. And so the idea is, in an event of a pandemic, how are leaders ready to be resilient? How are they ready to utilize technology to transform their organization?
When you look at the cost of living crisis, the energy cost, and also the cost of running a non-profit as it were, like I did say in my presentation, we now need to also start looking at productivity on the part of staff, including looking at the possibilities of transiting whether to a hybrid or to a full remote work environment.
Specifically, the summit deepened stakeholders' knowledge pillars of organizational resilience through evidence-based innovations, promoted strategic thinking on digital transformation and strong control mechanisms, and shared best practices from CSOs and BMOs through abstract presentations, panel discussions, and networking.
So one of the key things of this conference is that organizations should start to position themselves. And how do they do that? By developing strategic plans. And of course, developing strategic plans means looking into the future and bringing that future to the now.
As a grant manager, I don't subscribe to donors developing policies for CSOs. Organizations don't know what is contained in their policies when you develop it for them. It did not originate. Most times it doesn't reflect their status.
For any organization to survive, you break down walls. No silos. No silo. In fact, I have a disease that I have called silocytic neurotic syndrome. It's a syndrome that people have when they want to walk alone and they don't want to collaborate with others. Same thing with organizations that don't want to collaborate with other organizations. They can't stand it. They can't stand.
Some key outcomes from the summit include engaging in flexible programming to achieve an optimal work-life balance, moving away from the donor-focused approach to resource diversification, emphasizing the deployment of technology as a standard practice rather than an exception, understanding the operational environment, embracing change, and capitalizing on opportunities to foster organizational resilience and achieve high performance, establishing a broader ecosystem to form alliances to better understand the importance of inclusivity and safeguarding.
We are glad to be a part of the Organizational Development Summit. I must commend the organizers of the summit, USAID Palladium, for the vision behind it, and I'm glad this is the second year, and we're looking forward to being a part of the third and the fourth and the fifth year, where we're sure there will be so many other exciting outcomes of the summit.
If we continue on this trajectory, is that we'll have competent, well-run NGOs in Nigeria that can able to access funding directly from USAID, FCDO, and even other donor agencies across the world, while at the same time diversifying their funds and being able to generate local resources, and even with the capacity to ensure that local philanthropy is improved in Nigeria.
And for us, the vision is not necessarily building organizations or supporting them to access just USAID funds, but that they are organizations that can access funding from other organizations. So, and that's the point we're looking at, even in terms of the organizational development that is ongoing and some other support that we're giving.
We wanted a sustainability platform to move this legacy product of scale. Now we have a registered organizational development network hub, fully registered with board of directors who are going to, from next year, continue these innovative organizational development summits. And so we are hopeful that this summit is going to move on to a celebration of history that will outlive the scale project. And we also want to tell you that most donors, by reason of last year, had connection and collaboration with some of our partners. And the story we are hearing is that some have gained grants, some have moved on to implement grants. And so this is actually a hub of networking, collaborating, associating with one another, and teamwork, which of course is the essence of this kind of forum.
I'm really excited how far that we've gone. For this year, we have who we call co-sponsors, like Ford Foundation and Sterling Wonder Foundation, that have joined us to co-sponsor this session. And they have brought their own expertise, they have brought their own thinking to this OD Summit. And I think it's really made a difference. And we're looking forward to next year's having more people interested in supporting the OD Summit.
For me, one of the biggest highlights is the establishment of the institutionalizing OD that's going to be taking place in Nasarawa State University for a postgraduate certificate program and a master's program. I think for me that is truly innovative, that is sustainable for this sector.
This has been a wonderful, good opportunity to be able to have good knowledge offerings around organizational development and the capacity to be able to transfer this knowledge to our staff, to our staff members, to be able to prepare them. And then we've been exposed to some good, amazing tools, technological tools that would help us even work remotely.
I'm hugely proud of what the Scale team have done, and I think the topic for this year is so poignant and it's so relevant, and we're talking about resilience and how we also use technology. I think resilience for civil society organizations is so important. For sustainability, we need to think differently beyond donor life cycle going forward. So I'm hugely proud of the work that the Scale team has done.
The second National Organizational Development Summit facilitated valuable discussions and knowledge sharing, empowering participants to enhance their organizational resilience and performance in an ever-evolving landscape.